With me in the studio is Husam Zomlot. He is head of the Palestinian mission to the UK. Welcome to the studio. I asked Joel in the last half hour how that speech will be viewed among the United States allies in the Middle East, in the Arab countries. Standing ovations, the whooping and the hollering about some of the things that he made out in that speech. How did it go down for you?
A sad day for the US. A very sad day for the US standing in the region and globally, I have to say, to platform Netanyahu. And this isn't about Netanyahu, it's about the US and the US Congress in particular. Because Netanyahu is very well known, a very petty politician who would do anything to maintain his power and his office, including continuing committing a genocide. A person who's charged with corruption in his own country and with war crimes at the ICC. A person who lost all grounds, including the International Court of Justice only last Friday, saying that his occupation of the West Bank and Gaza, all Palestine, is unlawful. All the settlements are unlawful and illegal, must be dismantled, and that there shouldn't be negotiation for that. Israel has to quit its occupation. And a person who's really known to be a pathological liar. I mean, really? Israel did not target civilians? Talking to a person like me.
It's interesting to talk about him as a pathological liar, because Jeremy Bowen did say that there were plenty of untruths in what he was saying, particularly about the civilian casualties in Rafah and also the supply of food aid to Palestinians. He said there was no crisis, that Israel had supplied enough, and he gave this idea that when he talked to soldiers in Rafah, he'd been in there the other day, he said they had told him they'd killed about 1,000 fighters, Hamas fighters, but no civilians.
This is a desperate person. And by the way, I read also the body language. This is a person who has lost all grounds, including his own public opinion, by the way. He is watching that the ring is closing, arrest warrants by the ICC, what the ICJ ruled, recognitions by key countries and recognitions by even more now to be discussed. He knows that he is isolated, and then there is one audience he knows that he has, which is the US Congress. It's very unfortunate. And it's very unfortunate that you have the applaud while he's still bombing Rafah and Khan Yunis. You know, I come from Rafah. I know what is happening as we speak, and still committing the genocide. And the one sentence that really he wanted to make there is that, give me these tools, he means the 2,000 pounds bomb, faster, so I finish the genocide faster. He wanted the tools to continue his war. Netanyahu has no plan, Christian. He has no plan for Palestine, for peace, for any future. He is not warring Hamas.
Well,
he is not targeting Hamas. I assure you, he's targeting the Palestinian people, and he's targeting the idea of a Palestinian state. He just returned, came from Israel after passing a law in the Knesset preventing a Palestinian state. So he went there for one thing, to get the weapons to continue his genocide. That's why I say that was a disgraceful day for the US role in world peace and security.
He did talk about a plan for the day after. He said that they could agree to an independent authority ruling Gaza, but he said Israel must retain overriding security control.
Seriously, that's exactly what the ICJ ruled. He wants a permanent occupation, permanent subjugation,
well, he says
permanent control. That's the formula.
He says he doesn't want to repopulate Gaza, contrary to some of the accusations from some quarters. He's saying that it should be ruled, it could be ruled by the PLO, it could be ruled by the PLO, but with Israeli security control.
That's none of his business. The only business that he has to do is to end Israel's unlawful, illegal military occupation, dismantle all the illegal colonial settlements, and we will decide, the Palestinian people. This is our inalienable right.
But this is not going to be...
None of his business. Who rules and what rules?
What is his business, of course, though, are the hostages, and which are still being held in Gaza. There is a plan on the table to release hostages in return for Palestinian prisoners. He did dispatch his negotiators again to Qatar on Thursday.
He just cancelled it.
He's cancelled it again.
I was looking at some of the feeds that he's cancelling it. He's not serious. And each time he changed the goalpost. The same deal was on offer many months ago. He could have gotten the hostages a long time ago. He is not interested. He's only interested in prolonging this genocide as long as possible, because he knows the moment it stops, all eyes will be on him, on his role on bringing us to this moment. on his role since the 7th of October and what followed in terms of this mass murder, mass destruction. You know, he has targeted the livelihoods of the people in Gaza, not just the lives, not just the lives. It's very important that people know it's not just the 150,000 who have been killed and maimed. It's 70% of Gaza's houses destroyed by Netanyahu and his army.
Hang on, 150,000. It's 39,000 killed. You're saying there's another
150,000 killed and maimed. And some of the very respected UK health magazines are saying the number is actually killed, 184,000. That's the direct and indirect. The indirect is the use of disease and food as a weapon of war by Netanyahu. 186,000 lost their lives because of Netanyahu's war. Well, civilians, that's civilians. Now, the numbers are staggering. 70% of homes, 80% of schools, 90% of hospitals, and 100% of universities completely destroyed by the US provided weapons that he went to the Congress to get more of them.
I want to talk to you while I've got you about this meeting in Beijing at the weekend. 14 Palestinian factions there to sign an agreement that they would work together. Is that the return of Fatah and the PLO to Gaza post-war?
That's Palestinian political parties, factions agreeing the way forward. The way forward is, number one, the establishment of a state of Palestine on the 1967 borders.
So back to the situation that we had in 2006 before Hamas brutally kicked out Fatah.
No, the important thing is agreeing on a national platform, program, and second, agreeing that there will be only one government. That government is appointed by the Palestinian president, by the PLO, and that government is in charge and mandated with the unity of the Palestinian geography and polity, the people, and that government will convene elections. So all factions agreed that the only way forward is one Palestinian legitimate government, and it's up to the Palestinian people to decide, not Netanyahu and not any other party.
Husam Zomlot, good to talk to you. Thank you for coming into the program.